In this series, you will hear from teachers who have experiences in the use of online learning. Sa mga episodes na ito, i-feature po natin ang mga teachers mula sa Amerika na gumamit na o nakaranas na ng online learning. Our guest is a teacher from Maryland.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Tito P. Villosillo Jr. I am an English teacher here at Prince George's County Public School here in Maryland, and I also teach AVID 9, 10, 11, and 12. If you don't know what is AVID is a program that is in preparation for high school students to go to college. And so that is one of the wonderful things that we've been doing in a county, and that we have this kind of program that we're offering for our students to get them prepared as they move on to the next phase of their life, which is college life.
So, Mr. Villosillo, what can you share with us, or what are your best practices during this remote online learning?
And so I have some tips for you guys on how you will do it to make your life more easier and comfortable for you. So the very first thing that you need to do is plan. Planning is the most important thing. Plan ahead of time, because if you're not planning ahead of time, everything will be in chaotic. Everything will go down south. So it is so important that you have to have a plan and make it sure that every activities are in place. Now, number two, you have to make sure as well that the students are having some connections. You have to make sure that they have their Chromebooks, maybe computer at home, they have internet services. So what I did was I made an initial survey to all my students and finding out what available resources they have. Do they have any computer? Do they have any internet connection? So in that way, you will know how to be able to help them, and you will also be able to know whether the students will be able to participate in your classes. And so the next thing is, this is the most important thing as well for us teachers. We have to communicate our expectation to the students. And so in that way, they know exactly what to do and what are some of the things that they should not be doing. One of the example is of the expectation they would like to tell them is that, you expect them to be online, show up there in the video, and then submit the requirements. Otherwise, they will not get any grade. And so that is most important thing. And now that we are in this situation, unprecedented situation, even when we are in the classroom, it's so hard to engage our students. So all the more that we're doing this remote learning. And so we have to make sure that your activities are engaging to the students. They're more interested to participate, because if not, of course, they will not be attending in your classes. Remember, they are at home, and so they can do whatever they want. And so, but if you have this engaging, lesson, they are more likely to attend your classes, spend an hour with you in that particular classes, and participate in the class. Now, one of the things that you have to make sure as well is to keep your video short. If you are doing a pre-recorded lesson, make sure that it's just short. Now, who wants to watch you for 10 minutes? So as much as possible, do your videos at least or the most, which is 5 minutes. Because they don't want our students right now, they have a short attention span. They were not going to look at you 10 to 15 minutes of yourself talking about the things that they are going to do. So keep it simple, keep it short. Now, another thing is, it is so important also that you allow the students to give feedback as to the activity that you're doing, or maybe a feedback from their classmates, peer comments and something like that as to what they've been doing. And so that's the most important thing. Another thing that I would like to tell you or give you a tip is, if you have a deadline, so make sure that you are sticking to the deadline, because otherwise, if you will keep on delaying your deadlines, what mostly will happen is you are going to suffer, because you are going to check all these papers and everything. And so make sure that, deadline is deadline. Okay, not unless there are some situation that you have to make some considerations. Now another thing is, now that we've been doing with this remote learning, it is so important that you're using the right remote learning tools, that would help you in carrying out and delivering your lessons. One example is, you have to make sure that you are, be familiarized with Google Classroom. You know how to use other tools like Nearpod, Blackboard, Screencastify, Padlet, all of these kind of things. You can use them to engage your students. And without these activities, like, your lesson will just be boring. It will just be you. So make it sure it's more interactive, it's fun, it's full of enriched activities. And so in that way, your lessons will not be boring. And one last thing that I would like to, give you as a tip, as an educator, you have to make sure that your safety, that the student safety is the most important thing. You have to make sure that, when the students are doing online, and so there are no other uninvited guests. It happens a lot. There are invited guests, and so you have to make sure that you have to protect them. And then you have also to ask permission from the parents, whether, especially when you are recording the whole session. You have to make sure at the beginning that you have permission from the parents, like a media consent from the parents, that they are, allowing their child or their children to be recorded while doing your classes. And so those are some of the things that you need to do. First is plan ahead of time. Make sure that students have their connections with the internet. Communicate your expectation with the students. Engage with the students. Keep your video short. Allow students for feedback. Stick for deadlines. And then use the right tools. And then make sure that you are considering the student's safety.
What are the mistakes or what are the things that you could have done better even before we started online learning?
Also, one of the things that I've, it's not really like a mistake, but it's a slight, overlook from my side, from my experience. This is, I have been expecting too much from my students. The kind of expectation that I set for myself is the same expectation when we were in the classroom. And so, but now that we are doing this remote learning, it will be so difficult to have that kind of expectation again. And so sometimes you have to make some adjustments. You have to make some considerations. I just want you to make your life easier. Don't be burdened with all of this, a lot of work coming from the, from the students. And so, lessen the expectation. You still have the expectation, but at least like lessen them. It's not way too much. And so in that way, your life will not be miserable, and you will not be bombarded with a lot of work to do. And so I think those are some of the things that I can share with
And what is your final reminders for all the teachers out there who will start remote learning?
you. I hope that you get some helpful tips for you. And I hope that everything will be okay. And if you have any questions, you can reach Mr. Buena, or you can just reach me. I hope that you guys are doing well, and I hope that you will continue to be safe. And thank you for this opportunity. Bye.
Thank you very much for this awesome professional sharing from Mr. Villosillo. Yan po ay mga tips mula sa mga guro dito sa Amerika para pag ginamit natin sa Pilipinas, mas sanay na po tayong gamitin ang remote learning or online learning.